Stefon Diggs was arraigned and pled not guilty today on a strangulation charge, and he's been released on personal recognizance.
Stefon Diggs stood before a judge, pleading not guilty to a strangulation charge involving his female private chef. Released on personal recognizance, the star wide receiver now faces intense scrutiny as details from that night begin to surface. But it's what happened inside that courtroom that has everyone talking. Let's break it down. The arraignment. On the morning of February 13, 2026, Stefon Diggs walked into Dedham District Court in Dedham, Massachusetts. The time was about 9 a.m. Eastern. He faced one felony count of strangulation or suffocation under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 265, Section 15D, and one misdemeanor count of assault and battery under Chapter 265, Section 13A. The felony carries up to 5 years in state prison. The misdemeanor carries up to 2.5 years in a house of correction or a fine. The charges came from the Dedham Police Department, filed on December 29, 2025. They stem from an alleged incident on December 2, 2025, at Diggs' residence in Dedham involving a dispute with his former personal chef. This arraignment was not supposed to happen on this date. It was originally scheduled for January 23, 2026, but Diggs' legal team requested a postponement to allow him to participate in the NFL playoffs, which culminated in the Patriots' appearance in Super Bowl LX on February 8, 2026. The Patriots lost that game to the Seattle Seahawks, 29-13. The court granted the delay, and people noticed. A man facing a felony strangulation charge got his court date pushed back so he could play football, and some folks had opinions about that.
Imagine using your social capital for a man who had his court date pushed back so he can make it to the Super Bowl and then lose.
That comment was directed at Cardi B, but it captures how the public felt about the whole arrangement. A court date moved for a football game that ended in a loss.
You had a court date pushed back for the crime that you did against a woman, pushed back to lose.
Now, the arraignment itself lasted somewhere between 1 and 5 minutes. That is normal for this type of hearing. No evidence gets presented, no witnesses get called. The whole point is to enter a plea, set conditions of release, and schedule the next date. Diggs showed up in formal attire. He was accompanied by his attorneys, including Mitchell Schuster and possibly Sarah Silva, who had recently joined the defense team. Two of his prior attorneys withdrew from the case on February 12, 2026, just one day before the arraignment. The presiding judge was John Marie Carroll. The courtroom was described as tiny. Diggs' attorney entered a plea of not guilty to both charges on his behalf. That is standard. Procedure at arraignment. The judge released Diggs on personal recognizance, meaning no bail, no money posted. He just had to agree to show up for future court dates. The judge issued a no-contact order, prohibiting Diggs from any direct or indirect communication with the alleged victim, including through third parties. The courtroom exchange, as captured by WCVB-TV's coverage, went like this. The judge told Diggs the matter would be continued until April 1st, 2026, at 9 a.m. for a pretrial hearing. She laid out the conditions: stay away, no contact with the victim, no third-party contact. She warned him that if he violated those terms or committed a new offense, his recognizance could be revoked, and he could be held without bail for up to 90 days. Diggs' attorney said, "Thank you, Your Honor." That was it. Session over.
The lawyer for Stefon Diggs outside of Dedham District Court today after Stefon Diggs was arraigned and pled not guilty today.
And then came the statement outside the courthouse. Diggs did not talk to the media. His attorney, Mitchell Schuster, spoke briefly to reporters.
On a strangulation charge, and he's been released on personal recognizance.
Schuster told reporters that Diggs is completely innocent of these false allegations that have been alleged against him, and we're confident that after the facts and evidence are reviewed in this case, he will be completely exonerated. But to understand the full weight of what Diggs was facing in that courtroom, you need to know what allegedly happened on December 2nd, 2025. The December 2nd incident. The events at the center of this case trace back to a single evening at Stefon Diggs' residence in Dedham, Massachusetts, December 2nd, 2025, the day before the Patriots were scheduled to play the New York Giants, a game they would go on to win 24-17. According to the Dedham Police Department incident report, the trouble between Diggs and his private chef had been simmering for weeks before it allegedly boiled over into something physical. The chef, whose identity remains protected under Massachusetts victim privacy laws, was a female culinary specialist based in the Boston area. She had over 8 years in the industry focusing on customized meal plans for professional athletes and celebrities. She operated under her own business entity and held certifications in nutrition coaching from the National Academy of Sports Medicine. She was hired by Diggs sometime in November 2025 under a verbal, seasonal contract. No formal written document has been mentioned in any filing. The arrangement was live-in, meaning she stayed at the Dedham residence to prepare daily meals tailored to Diggs's training regimen. Her compensation reportedly included a monthly stipend estimated at around $5,000, plus groceries and living expenses covered by Diggs. On top of that, Diggs allegedly promised an unspecified investment in her personal business, what she described as seed money, to help expand her services. By late November, the relationship between employer and employee was fracturing. The chef claimed non-payment for her work that month and the unfulfilled business investment. Police records indicate she provided evidence of prior communications where Diggs had assured payment, but no specific contract documents were attached to the report. On December 2nd, the dispute intensified through text messages exchanged throughout the morning and afternoon. The chef was in her assigned bedroom at the residence. The texts, as excerpted in the police report, revolved around her demands for payment and her threats to leave. She reportedly texted Diggs, "You will be paying me out for the season and the money you said you would give me for my business. Wasted my time being here because you got a circus going on. I'm out of your life." Diggs allegedly responded with messages including, "I won't be paying you so cool," and "F, I look like paying you and paying another chef sick, so," and "I don't got to do a MF thing." The verbal conflict was escalating rapidly through those screens, each message ratcheting the tension higher and higher, pushing both parties deeper into a confrontation that neither seemed willing to back down from. Then, according to the complainant's sworn statement in the police affidavit, the dispute moved from digital to physical. Around 8:00 p.m. that evening, shortly after Diggs returned home from team activities, the chef says he entered her unlocked bedroom without knocking. She claims he approached her aggressively, slapped her across the face with an open hand, causing immediate pain and redness. When she attempted to resist by pushing him away, Diggs allegedly wrapped his arm around her neck in a chokehold using the crook of his elbow, applying pressure that restricted her breathing and induced fear of losing consciousness. She described struggling for air, trying to pry his arm away while he reportedly tightened his grip and said words to the effect of, "You think you can just leave without signing anything?" She estimated that this phase lasted approximately 30 to 45 seconds. Diggs then allegedly threw her onto the bed, released her, and said, "Thought so," before walking out of the room.
Personal chef working for Diggs claims there was some sort of a dispute over her fee.
That claim about the fee is central. This was, at its core, a money fight that the chef says turned violent.
Claims that Diggs first smacked her in the face, second basically put her in a chokehold.
The police report notes that the complainant experienced shortness of breath, fear for her life, and visible redness on her upper chest area. But she did not seek immediate medical attention. She did not photograph the marks. No other household members were mentioned as present or aware of the incident. There was no security footage cited, no audio recordings, and no third-party verifications included in the initial report. Immediately preceding the alleged physical altercation, the chef claimed that Diggs had demanded she sign a non-disclosure agreement as a prerequisite for receiving any further payments, which she refused. She viewed it as an attempt to silence her about the employment issues. This demand was reportedly made via text earlier in the day, and the police narrative frames the altercation as a direct outgrowth of her refusal to sign. The chef did not go to the police that night. She did not go the next day or the day after that. She went to the Dedham Police Department on December 16, 2025, 2 full weeks later. She initially expressed hesitation about pressing charges, citing concerns over career repercussions in the personal services industry. Then, on December 23, 2025, she confirmed her intent to proceed. The criminal complaint was filed on December 29, 2025, and the story broke to the public shortly after.
She told police she had trouble breathing. That's where the felony strangulation charge comes from.
When the news broke, Diggs' lawyers were in court the same day trying to keep the police report from going public.
And yesterday, his lawyers were trying to keep the police report secret. That didn't work because by the middle of the afternoon, the police report was everywhere. They were reading it on the radio in Boston.
So the report got out, and the public got to read every detail of what the chef alleged happened that night in that bedroom. And that brings us to what happened after December 2nd, the texts, the calls, and the NDA that kept coming up over and over again. The aftermath, texts, calls, and the NDA. The alleged assault on December 2nd was not the end of the communication between Stefon Diggs and his private chef. According to the Dedham Police Department's incident report and related court filings, a trail of text messages, a reported phone call from a third party, and continued references to a non-disclosure agreement painted a troubling picture of what the prosecution would later characterize as a pattern of intimidation. These communications have become some of the most heavily contested pieces of evidence in this entire case, and the battle over what they mean and whether they are even authentic will likely define where this thing goes from here. The text messages, as excerpted in the police report, began almost immediately after the alleged incident and stretched into the following days. The complainant alleged that shortly after Diggs left her room on December 2nd, she received messages pressuring her to remain silent. One key exchange included her reiterating demands for payment, to which Diggs reportedly responded with, "You ain't getting nothing until you sign," a message she interpreted as directly linking her compensation to the signing of a non-disclosure agreement. Another message from Diggs allegedly stated, "Don't make this bigger than it is," which the chef claimed was a thinly veiled threat delivered in the shadow of the physical confrontation that had just occurred. The police report lists at least 5 such texts in total, 2 from the complainant expressing her intent to leave and seek legal recourse, and 3 from Diggs refusing payment and insisting on confidentiality. These were submitted to police on December 16, 2025, during her initial report, provided via screenshots from her work phone, but the timestamps were not fully preserved in the report, creating a significant gap that the defense has seized upon with aggressive determination. Diggs's attorneys have motioned for full forensic access to the chef's phone, arguing that the provided excerpts deliberately omit context that would show mutual agreement discussions rather than coercion. The defense specifically claims that any references to signing documents pertain to a standard employment separation agreement, the kind of paperwork that routinely accompanies the end of a personal services arrangement, and not an NDA designed to suppress information about an assault. At the February 13th arraignment, the defense successfully motioned for the alleged victim to turn over text messages from December 2nd, 2025, claiming some had been altered or deleted to support her narrative. This motion signals that the battle over the authenticity and completeness of these texts will be a central theater of war when the case moves to the pretrial hearing on April 3rd. Then there is the phone call. According to the complainant's sworn statement in the police affidavit, on December 3rd, 2025, the very next day after the alleged assault, Diggs' girlfriend placed a call to the chef lasting approximately 10 minutes. The chef was still at the residence at the time, packing her belongings to leave. The girlfriend reportedly urged her not to pursue charges, saying things like, "You don't need to do all this, it's not that big of a deal," and suggesting the matter could be resolved amicably with payment if she dropped any complaints. The chef described this call as an attempt to dissuade her from reporting, and she believed it was coordinated with Diggs himself. The morning after you allegedly put your hands on someone, your girlfriend calls that person and tells them to let it go. That is what the prosecution is working with here. But this piece of evidence has a significant problem. No call logs or recordings were provided in the initial police report. The account relies solely on the chef's recollection. Police notes indicate that officers attempted to verify the call through carrier records but found no immediate matches, though subpoenas for phone data were issued after charges were filed. Diggs' legal team has denied any such call occurred, and the no-contact order issued at the February 13th arraignment prohibits third-party communications going forward. The NDA itself has become the most persistent thread running through the entire case. The complainant stated in her affidavit that Diggs first proposed a non-disclosure agreement via text on November 30th, 2025, 2 days before the incident, as a condition for releasing funds he owed her. She refused. After the alleged assault, this demand allegedly intensified, with Diggs texting on the evening of December 2nd, "Sign the papers and you'll get your money." She claimed no physical NDA document was ever presented to her. Instead, it existed as a verbal and texted insistence on confidentiality regarding her employment and any issues at the home. The prosecution referenced this in their summary at the February 13th arraignment, using it to argue a pattern of control, positioning the financial dispute and the alleged violence as 2 branches of the same tree, with Diggs using leverage to keep a former employee quiet. But no draft NDA document has been entered into evidence. The defense has requested dismissal of related intimidation claims, citing the lack of tangible proof.
You don't have a third-party witness. If you don't have visible injuries that can be photographed and preserved.
That observation speaks to the evidentiary difficulty that cases like this always present.
Because of how famous Stefon Diggs is, it really does make it a he said, she said,
right?
Literally.
The chef's concern about coming forward because of Diggs' fame is noted in the police report. She cited fears of professional blacklisting, a concern that is common in the personal services industry, where your next job often depends on the last person you worked for keeping your name clean. A 2023 survey by the Private Chef Association indicated that 25% of members encountered non-payment issues annually, showing that disputes like this are not unusual in the field, even if they rarely escalate to criminal charges. And that is exactly where this case sits right now, heading into April. A stack of contested text messages, an unverified phone call, a non-disclosure agreement that may or may not exist in any tangible form, and two people telling completely different versions of what happened in that bedroom. The April 1st pretrial hearing will likely address the admissibility of all of it, but between now and then, the court of public opinion has already been in session for weeks, and the NFL has been watching closely. The NFL, the Patriots, and the career. The charges against Stefon Diggs landed in the middle of one of the most consequential stretches of his professional life. When news broke on December 30th, 2025, the Patriots were surging toward the playoffs. Diggs was performing at a level that had quieted every critic who doubted whether he still had it in him after tearing his ACL in Houston. And the organization was enjoying its first real relevance since the Brady-Belichick era ended. The Patriots' response came fast. They issued a statement that read, "The New England Patriots are aware of the accusations that have been made regarding Stefon Diggs. Stefon has informed the organization that he categorically denies the allegations. We support Stefon."
Here is what the New England Patriots had to say about the entire situation. The New England Patriots are aware of the accusations that have been made regarding Stefon Diggs. Stefon has informed the organization that he categorically denies the allegations.
Those words, "we support Stefon," carried enormous weight. The Patriots were not hedging. They were not distancing themselves. They planted their flag next to Diggs, and they didn't.
The second thing that I think is noteworthy, when they say we support Stefon, they're not going to do anything.
The team had recent precedent for exactly this kind of situation. When safety Jabril Peppers faced domestic violence accusations, Patriots owner Robert Kraft said if the allegations were true, Peppers was gone. But the team let the process play out. Peppers went to trial, was acquitted, and stayed on the roster.
When Jabril Peppers was accused of domestic violence, Robert Kraft said if the allegations are true, he's gone. Well, they let the process play out through a jury trial that resulted in an acquittal of Jabril Peppers.
So the playbook was established. Diggs played in every remaining regular season game. He played in every playoff game. He played in Super Bowl LX. The NFL did not place him on the commissioner exempt list, which would have sidelined him on paid leave pending resolution. The league confirmed it was monitoring the situation but took no disciplinary action as of February 13th, 2026. Under the NFL's personal conduct policy, Commissioner Roger Goodell has broad authority to investigate and impose discipline independently of criminal proceedings. The policy uses a more probable than not standard rather than beyond a reasonable doubt. The league's special counsel for investigations reviews police reports, court documents, and witness statements, and may conduct independent interviews. For a first-time offense involving violence, the baseline suspension is 6 games without pay. For strangulation allegations specifically, precedents suggest longer bans, potentially up to a full season, if substantiated, plus mandatory counseling and fines typically exceeding $50,000 per game missed.
The last part, and I think this is the most important one as it relates to his availability to play in the coming weeks with some important games coming up.
The league chose not to act during the playoffs, and that decision allowed Diggs to take the field in the biggest game of the year. Now, looking at the bigger picture, this legal situation sits on top of an already complicated offseason for Diggs and the Patriots. His career trajectory has been a winding road of brilliance, frustration, and reinvention. He was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings in the 5th round of the 2015 NFL draft, 146th overall, on a 4-year, $2.5 million rookie deal. He turned himself into a Pro Bowler, delivered the legendary Minneapolis Miracle in the 2017 playoffs, and then forced his way out when he grew dissatisfied with his role. He landed in Buffalo, led the league in receptions and yards in 2020, earned first-team All-Pro honors, and then grew frustrated again. Another trade, this time to Houston, then a torn ACL, then a bounce-back year in New England on a 3-year, $69 million contract with $30 million guaranteed. In the 2025-2026 season, Diggs posted 88 receptions for 1,013 yards and 4 touchdowns, contributing directly to the Patriots' first playoff run in years.
He just had the most productive season for a receiver for this team, right? Came in and was a model citizen when it came to working every day.
But the talk in New England media circles now is not about what Diggs did on the field. It is about whether the Patriots will bring him back at all.
I think the Patriots and Stefon Diggs are headed for a breakup for football reasons this offseason.
Well, that's a different conversation.
Well, it isn't, though, because it's all kind of tied together when they take a, big picture look.
His contract has $6 million becoming guaranteed on March 13th, 1 month from the arraignment date. The Patriots reportedly do not want to pay north of $20 million for Diggs next season. If they approach him with a reduced offer, the expectation from people close to the situation is that Diggs will decline.
You're going to sit there and say, if you're Steph Diggs, yeah, I was your best receiver and I did everything you asked of me last year. Sure, I'll take a 50% pay cut after just having a very productive year.
And underneath the contract math, there is the unavoidable reality that the off-field situation factors into every front office conversation.
How are things gone for him off the field? Do we like the fact that let's say he didn't do this, right? Does it feel to you like he's got his crap together off the field to allow this to happen?
No.
The legal case, the contract dispute, the personal life drama, all of it converges at the same time for a player entering his mid-30s with a court date on April 1st. And speaking of personal life drama, that brings us to Cardi B, the breakup, and what comes next. The relationship between Cardi B and Stefon Diggs was one of the most visible celebrity pairings of 2025. It began with rumors in October 2024, shortly after Cardi filed for divorce from Offset for the second time. By June 2025, the couple hard-launched their relationship at an NBA playoff game between the Boston Celtics and New York Knicks, photographed holding hands courtside. Instagram made it official. Through the summer and fall of 2025, Cardi attended Patriots games from luxury suites. Diggs sent extravagant flower arrangements for the release of her album Am I the Drama in September 2025. In November 2025, Cardi gave birth to their son, their first child together, solidifying what appeared to be a committed partnership blending hip-hop royalty with NFL stardom. Through December 2025 and January 2026, even as the assault allegations surfaced publicly, the couple appeared united. Cardi posted supportive content for Diggs during the playoffs. Videos surfaced of them celebrating Patriots wins together. In a January interview, Diggs mentioned that a proposal was on the agenda postseason, which sent engagement rumors spiraling across social media. Everything pointed toward a couple weathering a storm together and coming out the other side stronger than ever. Then, the Super Bowl happened, February 8, 2026. The Patriots lost 29-13 to the Seattle Seahawks in New Orleans, and almost immediately, the cracks became visible.
She left the Super Bowl right after the halftime performance from Bad Bunny, which she was a part of. We saw her stretching for about 2 seconds.
Cardi was part of the halftime show. She stretched on stage for about 2 seconds, and then she was gone.
When she was asked about does she have anything to say to Stefon before the big game, and she said good luck and turned around and walked off.
Inspired message from her. Good luck.
Good luck. 2 words and a turn back. That was the last public interaction between them that anyone can point to. On February 9, 2026, fans noticed mutual unfollows on Instagram, the unmistakable modern signal that a celebrity relationship has reached its breaking point. Photos were removed, stories were deleted. Entertainment Tonight reported sources confirming a recent split, noting it may not be permanent and could be temporary due to stress from the Super Bowl loss and competing schedules, but the indicators kept piling up. On February 11, 12, Diggs posted cryptic Instagram quotes about heartbreak and turned off comments. Cardi appeared emotional in tour preparation appearances, reflecting on the Super Bowl without tagging or mentioning Diggs. The infidelity rumors that had been circulating since Super Bowl week gained traction. Anonymous sources alleged that Diggs was seen in compromising situations at the Patriots team hotel with another woman, identified in reports only as Pre, a name connected in some reports to a prior associate of Offset. A purported leaked DM screenshot attributed to Diggs, circulated via The Shade Room and Dumois, reportedly included him writing, "She knew what this life was. No ring, no official title means no full weight on certain things."
So this man has not given you as much as you gave him. We don't see him hyping you up. Matter of fact, when he was asked about...
The public reaction was volcanic. X trends like Jair Cardi B Diggs breakup and Dye Diggs fumble accumulated millions of impressions. 50 Cent posted on February 12th that Diggs lost the bowl and the Barty tough week with a laughing emoji. Cardi's fan base rallied with memes portraying her as a queen who needed to move on, while Diggs' supporters pointed to Cardi's history of reconciliations with Offset.
You were out here standing next to a person that was accused and was charged with a very serious crime.
That observation from commentators captured what many felt was the most uncomfortable dimension of the whole situation. Cardi had publicly stood beside a man facing felony strangulation charges, cheered for him in the snow at Gillette Stadium, lent him the gravitational pull of her celebrity during a period when scrutiny was at its highest.
I was severely disappointed. And I'm even more disappointed that the only time now we're getting you discarding him is after he's lost this game.
The timing of the breakup, immediately after the Super Bowl loss, not after the assault charges, became its own source of criticism. The charges were not enough to walk away, but the loss was. People noticed that.
Whatever the excuse is, maybe you felt some type of way because he brung the alleged mistress of Offset named Pre to the field and flew out one of the baby mamas there, and their
The involvement of Pre at the Super Bowl added another layer of disrespect to the entire situation, with the alleged former mistress of Cardi's ex-husband now photographed at the very event Cardi had supported Diggs through. As commentators pointed out, these are the details that make this breakup feel less like a mutual parting and more like a spectacle designed to humiliate. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.